Welcome to Great Primer, a weekly show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and in this episode it's a special Kickstarter preview of MythBerry Studios' MythBerry Tiles. Earlier this year, I heard that MythBerry Studios were just about to release this plastic modular dungeon creation system with all these interlocking plastic pieces that you could put together really any way your imagination could sort of think up. And when I found out it was going to Kickstarter, I just made a mental note to back it as soon as it appeared. And then it came up like a couple of weeks ago, and straight in there with a pledge, no problem at all, sit back and wait. But then they reached out to me and said, hey, we could send you one of these early, give it a review, see what you think, and that's what this is. And just for complete transparency, I obviously did not pay for this set, but I have pledged in the Kickstarter for my own copy of this set. So this is not a promotion, I'm not being paid or any of those things, and I will review this the same way I review everything else, with absolute honesty and speak from my heart. I have no idea what I'm going to end up building once I start playing around with all these plastic pieces, but I'm really excited to find out. I will be back in just a moment. Okay, so straight away this looks impressive. I love this little carry case pack that it came in, and this is very much standard when you're getting these MythBerry tiles. This thing just looks so cool. I like the branding on the side here. I've paid good money for cases like this for carrying around miniatures from the likes of Tabletop Tyrant and Feldherr, I think is the other brand. But let's check this out. Very excited to see what these are like. Oh wow, there's tons in this. And there's this little insert. So this is the standard pledge. This is the one with like 16 of these standard tiles here. And then you get all of this other stuff as well, including a whole big bag of the berries. They almost look like BB pellets there, but they're connected in right angle. You can see that that's the basic layout of the berries there, and you can do a lot with this from what I'm gathering from the videos, watching these be connected in many different ways. So I just want to look at each of the standard components which comes with this. So just bear with me 1 second. So this is the first and the largest of the components. You can see it's marked out into these 4 squares, and this works out at 50mm on each side, or 2 inches each side, so 2 inches square, 50mm square. And you can see all of the ways this can use the berries to connect into different things. But we're talking solid plastic here. I would really have to put pressure into that to get that to flex, but it's nice and lightweight. It kind of reminds me of the plastic density of like Lego. And yeah, very, very impressive stuff here. So that's the sort of first of the components. And then we have, let me see, then we have the flat-sided one here. You can just see this is completely smooth. And it has this unusual shape underneath it, but that will just connect beautifully. And that gives you the option of, say it was at the edge of this piece here, and have your floor, and then you can have your smooth wall as well. But there are many ways you could use this. You could even have this like painted as water or whatever, and have like a little pond or a puddle or a river or whatever you want to do. And then they just pry apart like that. So that's the second of the components. And then this is the third of the 4 components you get in this. And it's an unusual shaped thing, almost like a little viaduct or aqueduct there. But very, very useful. And there's a lot of things you can build using just these and a few berries. And then the final component is what gives the MythBerry tiles their name. These are the actual berries they talk of. And it's got this little right angle. You get the 3 little berry connectors there. And incredibly clever design. This is actually quite a strong component. You can see how white knuckle I'm going there. But there's no flex there whatsoever. These are built tough. And one way I could very simply combine all of these parts here. Let's see what I could do. Push that in. Connect this guy in here. And here I have a really nice, just a piece of floor here with maybe a curb off to the side of it. But this could very easily turn into like a trap door. I could maybe turn it this way and be like a standard door into the next room, or some kind of a push down secret where it creates like a ramp across to something else, or a very rudimentary drawbridge there, something like that. But that's just a one of each component, and as you can see, there are multiple things that could be used for. And for me, I think what's most exciting about this is I just want to get into this now and just play around with it and see what's possible. I don't think there's a right and a wrong way to use this stuff. I think it's just like, have fun with it. Try different techniques of connecting the pieces, see what works for you, see what doesn't. I'm going to try and build some stairs here, maybe a little room as well. And then I'll see what it looks like with a few miniatures on it and a few game components too, to see how this could be used. So I'm going to have a bit of a play with them and then showcase some of the things that I managed to build. I'm halfway through building my stairs here, and I'm just thinking that the beauty of a product like this is that it's going to outgrow its creators really quickly. Once this goes out into the community, the stuff that people will come up with, it will just be so far beyond the imaginings of the creators of the product. And I think that's really neat, that they're probably going to be really surprised with what they see being posted on Instagram or whatever as soon as this hits market. And that's really cool. I don't think my basic stairs are going to rock anyone's world, but they'll definitely serve a function. I'm going to keep going. So here's actually the first thing that I've built with this. We've got the main floor here, and just a set of stairs going up. So our brave adventurer can make their way up here and up onto the next level. Really straightforward. I can reinforce this by putting a wall in here. That's no problem at all. Very, very simple. So I'm actually going to do that. So now I've got a reinforced upper platform here. There's space underneath that as well. I could probably do something with that. And you know, while I was playing around with this very, very straightforward just set of stairs up to the second floor, I actually discovered something interesting. If I just kind of give this a little bit of a pull, what I can make, and this was completely by accident, is a little bit of a rope bridge. So obviously I could extend this even further, but it was very simple to do. And what this has created is this additional obstacle, this unusual visual element where you're on this platform and you're like, I want to get across here, but this doesn't look the safest. And maybe the dungeon master will be a bit mean on this one and say for every step you take across these four wooden boards, you know, on this rope bridge, maybe if you roll a 1 on any of these, the board just falls through and fails and you plummet to your doom. That could be fairly mean, but pretty cool at the same time. And that was really just something that I discovered when I was playing around, that I was able to turn a very simple set of stairs into a little swinging rope bridge there, which is just such a cool thing. By rotating the platforms on the berries that connect them, I've just turned the little staircase into something much more treacherous looking. Strong. So strong. And there's no harshness with this. There are no sharp edges that you have to worry about. This is really, really well made. It's well finished. I'm clicking stuff on and off here, no problem. And I'm just kind of lost in this process. It's a huge amount of fun. And I'm sort of thinking through how this scenario is going to play out, how this would play out within a game, and coming up with some little fun ideas or strange turns that this could take. And yeah, it's great. Okay, so this is my creation. And yeah, it looks kind of strange, but there's a narrative to it. And this is what I love about this process. As I was putting this together, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if this happened and then this happened. And so what'll happen here is our adventurers will go up the stairs, and because they're a little rickety, maybe there's a chance that they will stumble, that they go over an ankle or something like that. But that's a little bit of a challenge going up here, getting the entire party up. And after making all this effort of going up these stairs, it's just like there's nothing here. This goes nowhere. It's a wall at the end, tall wall on the side, wall on the left. But what actually happens when they're about maybe 2 or 3 steps in, this partition folds away. This just disappears off, and it opens out this whole space. And what I would have at the end here is just something fairly miserable, something fairly dangerous like this. Maybe this massive beast waiting for them as soon as that partition comes back. He just owns the space, doesn't he? So our poor adventurers who've wandered up here are suddenly faced with this incredible, 2-story demon. You can either take the option of trying to fight them, just going ahead and getting into the fight, or for the clever adventurer, maybe they realize that this tall wall to the side has got a second function. And if all of the adventurers lean into it at the one time, they actually turn this into a slide, and they can just hop on there and slide out of the way. But that's left up the top. You've slid down into relative safety, and here it is. I could set it up like this. They've escaped. They've slid just out of the clutches of this creature, and they could absolutely just take that extra couple of steps, and they're out. Or they could turn around here and say, I'm going to go underneath. And they just sort of journey down here, and oh, lo and behold, there's another room hidden underneath. And then what we could do is just something cool. We could just put this out of the way and be like, okay, adventurer, this is what's in front of you. And we can use these cool little smooth spaces here. And we can say that this is what the space underneath opens out into. And we give them a quick reward here with like a couple of health tokens off to the side. But let's not have them be too confident in this space. These came with the Bloodborne Kickstarter, and they're just cool little treasure chests. And we could maybe put 3 of those in front of them in this space. And they even got some little numbers here. I think those might have come from Massive Darkness. I'm not sure. But there we go. So I just zoomed in there to show you the new situation, the room beneath the room. And yeah, we've got our health here, and then we've got the numbered treasure chest. And it's up to this adventurer whether they actually decide to open one of these chests, or whether they just like, nope, it's not worth it. I'm lucky to have got away from that huge demon up on top of the stairs, which is currently right above where they're standing. And I think the best way for this to end is if they pick number 1, the ceiling above falls through, the creature lands immediately behind them and eats them. I'd be happy with that outcome. And I hope you can see just how well this stuff all works together, how these miniatures and tokens and gaming accessories all just work really well with this modular scenery. The MythBerry tiles are going to last you for years, maybe even decades. They are so solidly made. They click together with that confidence that I really like. And do I think that the starter set, which is pretty much what we're seeing here, this is almost the entirety of it used. We've also got these flat ones, and then a whole bunch of berries left over in one of these little connector boyos. Do I think that it's enough in that set? I really do. I mean, it obviously depends on you, what you're going to be using it for what I created in a very short time here gave me this really interesting scenario. Maybe at the big showdown with the big boss, but also the ability to grab the treasure. This could end up being a huge battle in a very narrow space between the adventurers and the big old demon over there. And there could even be additional hazards here with this. You could turn this into like the rope bridge instead for getting across. You can see how easy I was just able to push that down and turn it into something like a rope bridge. So I just love that. I think that's really clever. You could very easily make more by taking off these wall sections. They're not entirely necessary, even these ones at the end here. So you could just have it maybe with the partition held in place by this little piece here, and you know, once they trigger the thing, that can then just be taken away. And you could use all of these pieces here that what you've pulled from the walls in an entirely different section. Maybe a walk up to this, or some other section that needs to be traversed before you get to the exit. So it's entirely up to you. You know, when I look at the way these are, I would love to make a Blood Bowl pitch, like 1989, second edition Blood Bowl. I'd love to make the Astrogranite pitch just using these. I have no idea how many that would involve. I think it's around the 100 mark, maybe 112 of these would be needed to make a Blood Bowl Astrogranite pitch. So I'm not sure if that's the smartest thing for me to try and build, but that completely aside, what you can do with one of these sets is fantastic. What you can do with two is like multi-layer kind of fantastic. And I think that it is just something you're going to reuse over and over again. And as for painting, you could leave them as they are if you want, or you can prime them, get some washes on there, you know, to pick out these recesses. You could use a knife to etch out marks on them, and you know, but you could also go completely to town on them and paint runes on them, have blood splatter, or turn some of them into like trapdoors or something like that, whatever you want. And these flat ones you could even have like as water effects or lava or something like that. Honestly, the only limit is your imagination with this, and I think it's just fabulous. And I'm going to have so much fun with this set over the next weeks and months as I just play around with all of the different components and see what cool things I can make with these fantastically modular building blocks. Very excited about that. And when I post this video, there's going to be still a bunch of time for you to get in and back this Kickstarter, have a good look at it, see if it's for you. I'll put a link to the Kickstarter in the show notes below, but I'll also link out to Mythberry's Instagram and their YouTube channel, because they do a really good job on there of showing how this kit can be used and all the different weird and wonderful ways you can put it together and how you can incorporate it into your games as well. And that's definitely worth checking out. And I just want to thank MythBerry Studio for sending this early preview across to me. This was a lovely surprise. I've had a huge amount of fun playing around with it, and I wish them all the very best in the remainder of the campaign. And really the only thing left to say is please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below if you want to chat, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.